In the vast, sprawling city of New York, where skyscrapers cast long shadows and dreams often intermingle with despair, a remarkable event unfolded that left an indelible mark on all who witnessed it. It was a crisp fall afternoon at Columbia University, the kind where sunlight filters through crimson leaves and the air tastes faintly like apples. The university's grand lecture theater was packed to capacity, students buzzing with anticipation, scholars looking thoughtful, all waiting for one man. The guest of honor was a renowned atheist professor. He had been invited to give his controversial lecture on atheism, a discourse known to ruffle feathers. With his imposing intellect and razor-sharp wit, he had made many believers wince in discomfort as he casually dismissed their faiths with evidence-based arguments. On this day, though, unbeknownst to him or anyone else present there, someone would rise from amongst them, an unlikely challenger who would silence him in ways unimaginable. That person was Barron Trump. But let me backtrack briefly for context. Barron is not your typical teenager. As the youngest son of former President Donald Trump, he's seen more than most kids his age ever will. Media scrutiny, political debates over family dinners. Yet despite it all keeps a low profile and remains something of an enigma. That afternoon, as everyone waited with bated breath for the professor to begin his speech debunking theology piece by piece, little did they know that Barron, too, had been preparing meticulously for this moment. Just picture the scene, a hushed auditorium, hundreds of minds ready to be swayed by persuasive words, skepticism hanging thick in the air like mist before sunrise. And then enters our atheist professor, every inch confident and charismatic, striding up onto the podium amid scattered applause. He begins his sermon against faith and deities with practiced ease, tearing into age-old beliefs without remorse or second thought. His words are cutting, cynical, the kind of rhetoric that has made him a revered figure amongst non-believers. But in the midst of this intellectual onslaught, there's Barron, quietly observing from his seat, eyes focused, mind sharp. As he listens to every argument being presented against his faith, he does not flinch or shy away. Instead, he absorbs it all, preparing for what is to come next. And then comes the moment we have been leading up to. The professor concludes and opens the floor for questions. A collective breath is held as students begin to raise their hands. But before anyone else can speak, Barron stands up. The room falls silent. All eyes turn towards him, some curious, others skeptical. The professor too looks at him with an amused smile playing on his lips. But what happens next leaves everyone stunned. Barron begins speaking in a calm yet assertive voice, articulating his thoughts with such clarity and conviction that it sends ripples through the room. He challenges each point raised by the atheist professor, not with anger or aggression, but with reason and respect. His arguments are neither preachy nor defensive. Instead, they illustrate a deep understanding of science and religion coexisting harmoniously without contradicting one another. His words pierce through the skepticism like rays of sunlight seeping through clouds, illuminating minds and reshaping perspectives in ways no one anticipated. You see, Barron did not just defend Jesus Christ that day. He defended every person's right to believe without having their faith belittled or ridiculed, something which resonated deeply within everyone present there. As silence fell over the auditorium once again after his speech concluded, there was something different about it this time around. It wasn't just anticipation or fear. It was awe mixed with respect, admiration blended with surprise. And as people turned back towards our atheist professor, they saw something incredible. He was speechless. The man known for his quick retorts and confident rebuttals had no words to counter Barron's arguments. That moment, ladies and gentlemen, marked a turning point. It was the day when Barron Trump, a teenager, took on an atheist intellectual giant and left him speechless. More importantly, though, it was the day we were all reminded of the power of respectful dialogue over divisive debate. The magic that unfolds when young minds are allowed to question, challenge, and defend their beliefs openly without fear or prejudice. So remember this tale not just as a story of triumph, but as a lesson in tolerance and open-mindedness. Because sometimes it is these unexpected moments that teach us life's greatest lessons, often right when we least expect them. In a world where opinions are as diverse as the people who hold them, it's not uncommon to encounter those whose beliefs differ vastly from our own. It is within these differences that we truly discover the essence of tolerance and open-mindedness, life lessons often taught at the most unexpected moments. Today, I present you with such an instance involving none other than Barron Trump himself. Picture this, a typical American university classroom filled with young, impressionable minds eager to learn. At the helm stands an atheist professor known for his condescension towards religious beliefs, particularly Christianity. One day, during a heated debate on religion and faith versus science and logic, he decides to mock Jesus Christ in front of his students. The professor begins by challenging the concept of miracles, something central to Christian belief, using scientific explanations to debunk them one by one. With each dismissive statement, he grows more audacious in his mockery of Jesus Christ, all under the guise of intellectual discourse. Now imagine being Barron Trump, son of former President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump. From a young age, Barron had been exposed to multiple perspectives on various issues due to his parents' high-profile status. However, religion had always held a special place in his heart, owing largely to his mother's firm Catholic faith. So picture young Barron sitting quietly among classmates during this lecture, when suddenly the discussion takes this disrespectful turn towards something so dear to him: his faith in Jesus Christ. To some people's surprise, yet others' admiration, instead of remaining silent or shrinking back uncomfortably like many might do, given their age or fear of confrontation with authority figures, Barron decided that he could not let this moment pass without standing up for what he believed was right. Barron calmly raises his hand amidst the uneasy silence which has descended upon the room following the professor's inflammatory remarks about Jesus Christ. The professor acknowledges him with an amused smirk, expecting nothing more than a futile attempt to challenge his logic with naive religious fervor. The room holds its collective breath as Barron begins to speak. He doesn't raise his voice or show any signs of anger. Instead, he addresses the professor's mockery with such poise and maturity that it surprises even the most cynical in the room. Barron starts by acknowledging the professor's right to hold his atheist views. However, he respectfully points out that open-mindedness should extend both ways, from those who believe in God towards those who don't, and vice versa. He then goes on to address the miracles mentioned earlier by the professor, recalling various instances from history where science has been unable to fully explain certain phenomena. Barron suggests that perhaps there is a realm beyond human understanding where these miracles might exist. As he continues speaking, it becomes apparent that this isn't just about defending Christianity or Jesus Christ against mockery. It's about standing up for everyone's right to their beliefs without being subjected to ridicule or disrespect. Barron ends his statement with a thought-provoking question directed at his professor. If you teach us to be open-minded towards all scientific theories because they're based on evidence and logical reasoning, shouldn't you also teach us to be open-minded towards beliefs which may not have concrete evidence but offer moral guidance and comfort for many? The room falls silent once again after Barron finishes speaking, but this time around, there's an air of respect hanging heavy within it. Respect for this young man, who dared stand up against intolerance disguised as intellectual discourse. The atheist professor is left speechless by Barron's response, his smug expression replaced now with one of thoughtfulness, perhaps even regret. This encounter serves as a poignant reminder of how essential mutual respect and tolerance are in our increasingly diverse society. It emphasizes how important it is for each one of us, irrespective of age, status, or beliefs, to not only stand up for our own values, but also respect those of others. In the end, it wasn't about proving whose belief was superior. It was about demonstrating that every individual's faith, or lack thereof, deserves equal regard and understanding. This story isn't just a testament to Barron Trump's maturity and wisdom beyond his years. It is an illustration of how unexpected moments can teach us life's greatest lessons. It reminds us all that true open-mindedness doesn't mean simply accepting different scientific theories or ideologies, but also recognizing and respecting the diverse beliefs which make up our rich human tapestry. We don't have to agree with everyone around us, but we must learn to respectfully disagree without resorting to mockery or disdain. Because in doing so, we create a world where differences are not just tolerated, but celebrated, paving the way for a more harmonious coexistence. And as we navigate through this journey called life, filled with its myriad experiences and encounters, let's carry with us Barron Trump's incredible show of tolerance and open-mindedness as an inspiring beacon guiding our way towards becoming better individuals in an ever-evolving world. As we draw the curtains on this gripping narrative, let's take a moment to reflect on the profound wisdom that has been unveiled. A young Barron Trump found himself at odds with an atheist professor, yet instead of resorting to heated arguments or fiery rebuttals, he chose a path of serene understanding and thoughtful discourse that left an indelible mark. So often in life, we find ourselves caught up in our beliefs and convictions. They shape our identity and sense of self. But as strongly as we may feel about them, it's crucial to remember that everyone else is also entitled to their personal truths. Just like the atheist professor who openly mocked Jesus Christ. His skepticism wasn't bred out of disdain, but rather from his own interpretation of existence. Remembering this allows us to approach such differences not with hostility, but empathy. Barron's response was not one born out of spite. Instead, it was a reflection of his respect for diversity in thought and belief systems. It's essential for all of us to understand that despite our differences, what truly matters is how we interact with each other. Do we allow these differences to create divides? Or do they inspire us towards intellectual growth? Barron did not seek victory in proving the professor wrong. He sought understanding by engaging him in a dialogue that revealed more than just opposing viewpoints. It shed light on the essence of human connection itself. This tale reminds us how meaningful conversations can be when stripped off from derision or mockery, when every word spoken is laced with respect for another's viewpoint. In contrast to common perception, tolerance isn't merely about enduring something you dislike or disagree with. It's about appreciating diversity even when it challenges your deepest convictions. The strength lies not in resisting change, but adapting to it while maintaining your core values intact. A testament Barron truly embodies. It's compelling how Barron chose words over war, an extraordinary example demonstrating how patience and tolerance can pave the way for constructive dialogue. His stance in this episode isn't a mere act of diplomacy. It's an embodiment of his character, a reflection of his values. The beauty of humanity lies in our ability to evolve, to rethink and reevaluate our beliefs when faced with fresh perspectives. It's easy to hold on to rigid viewpoints, but difficult and more rewarding to engage in conversations that challenge those very notions. That's what real progress looks like. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable enough to question our own understanding and open enough to accept newer insights. Barron Trump's response is an echo reverberating through the halls of time, a reminder that faith isn't about imposing your beliefs on others, but living them so profoundly that they inspire respect from even those who may not share them. In the face of mockery, he chose empathy over enmity, understanding over judgment, conversation over confrontation, actions speaking louder than any words could ever do. In this tale lies a lesson for all. The power inherent in choosing peace over conflict, acceptance over intolerance, and understanding over ignorance. As Barron displayed, the mightiest warriors are those who conquer their own prejudices before stepping out into the battlefield against others. We live in an increasingly polarized world where difference often leads to discord rather than discourse. But as we navigate these choppy waters armed with wisdom gleaned from Barron Trump's story, let us strive towards creating bridges instead of walls between divergent ideologies. Every individual has a unique lens through which they perceive life. Their experiences shape their beliefs just as ours shape ours. Instead of dismissing others' views outrightly because they don't align with ours or forcing our convictions upon them, let's try engaging in enriching dialogues that foster mutual respect and promote shared learning. Let this narrative serve as a beacon, an illuminating testament urging us all towards fostering tolerance within ourselves, first before seeking it from others. Because when we look past our differences and engage with one another with empathy, patience, and understanding, true growth happens. And perhaps someday, standing at the precipice of another ideological divide, you'll remember Barron Trump's response to the atheist professor. Maybe then, you'll choose tolerance over prejudice, embrace inclusivity over division, and wisdom over ignorance. becoming a beacon of inspiration for those around you, just as Barron was in this story. Through his actions that day, Barron Trump left not just the professor but all of us speechless. A profound reminder that sometimes silence isn't admitting defeat. It's a powerful testament to understanding and respect. Just as he did that day in class, let's all strive to leave an indelible impact on every conversation we partake in, not by seeking victory in arguments, but by promoting understanding through discourse. In conclusion, let's carry with us not only the memory of this riveting tale, but also its essence, the power inherent within each one of us to promote tolerance and understanding amidst diversity. Let this be your guiding light as you navigate life's labyrinthine paths, knowing always that true strength lies not in asserting your beliefs, but respecting others. A lesson learned from a young Barron Trump who proved with his incredible show of tolerance, we can indeed change the world, one conversation at a time.